If you recently bought an M4 Mac Mini like me, then you probably were left thinking the same things. What am I going to do about SD cards? What am I going to do about HDMI? What am I going to do about USB-A? What am I going to do about these things? And that's where today's video comes into play. Today we're talking about the Minisopuru Mini4Max dock that they sent over to me for the sake of review, but no money exchanged hands. So all these thoughts and comments about this product are in fact my own. We're going to talk about how this dock can expand your ports and also expand your storage. All right, so let's stay tuned for how we can do that. First things first, let's talk about what comes in the box. In the box, you're going to get obviously the dock with this included USB-C cable. Keep in mind with the included USB-C cable, it's going to take up 2 ports on the back of your Mac Mini, 2 USB-C ports, all right? And this dock is specifically made for the M4 and M4 Pro Mac Mini with this 5x5 dimension, same as the Mac Mini, and sits at 0.6 inches tall, so it's not going to elevate your Mac Mini too much. Also, what comes in the box is your hardware for the NVMe SSD enclosure and also your thermal pads. On the dock, you also get a cutout for the power button, so that is easily accessible. On the front of this dock, you're going to get 3 USB-A ports. One is designed to connect your keyboard, one is designed to connect your mouse, and then you're also going to get an SD and TF card slot. Now, these USB-As are only 2.0 ports, and the SDs are going to be 3.0s. So I know what some of y'all are thinking, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. Why in 2025 are we putting in 2.0 USB-A ports? Like, shouldn't they be 3.0, 3.2? Shouldn't they be 10 gig per second, not 5 gig per second? Well, that was actually intentional by Minisopuru, and I found that out myself. Well, when you put in 3.0 or higher ports, they have an increased chance of interrupting Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. 2.0 ports have a very small chance of doing that. So they had the consumer in mind. So they weren't thinking speed, but they were thinking reliability, which I think is cool. Now these SD and TF card slots, they're only going to transfer speeds at 104 megabytes per second, which is on the slower end. I think when I was playing with the SD card, I used a V90 and I was transferring 8 gig in about, I think it was like 5 minutes or something like that. I can't remember. I'll put a graphic up here. So with this dock, you're not going to get the fastest speeds, but you are going to get a stable, reliable connection. On the back of this dock, you're going to get your 3.5mm headphone jack. You're going to get an HDMI, and you're going to get a display port. The HDMI supports 4K up to 60 hertz, and the display port supports up to 144 hertz still with 4K, which is great for gamers. On the bottom of this dock, you're going to have 5 silicone pads that are going to keep this dock in place on your desk so it doesn't slide everywhere. Then you're also going to get your slot for your NVMe SSD enclosure. And this NVMe or this dock supports up to 8 terabytes of NVMe SSD in here. And that's a way to quote unquote internally expand your storage, especially if you got the base model like me with 256 gig of storage. This NVMe really comes in clutch, and you can expand it from 4 terabyte to 8 terabyte for a lot cheaper price than if you were to internally upgrade storage through Apple. Now with this internal NVMe SSD, it does transfer at up to, I believe it's 10 gig per second, and testing the speeds, it's fast. I think I got like up to 2,000 some change megabytes per second, and that was after I formatted it through APFS on disk utility on my Mac. And these are still good speeds. Like when I was transferring all my data from my external SSD to the internal SSD, I was transferring 300 gig at a time in 5 minutes or less, which I think is pretty insane. I think that's really fast. So as you can see, this Minisopuru dock does do a lot of good things. It is a dock that the Mac Mini sits on. It elevates it a little bit just so you have a little bit better airflow. Now my only downside with this dock, other than the speeds, I guess, would be the included USB-C cable and the fact that it takes up 2 USB-C ports on the back of my Mac Mini. Now, you're probably asking, why is an included USB-C cable one of your downsides or one of your reservations? And to me, when it's an included USB-C cable, if something happens to the cable, your whole dock is gone. You're gonna have to buy an entirely new dock, which I don't love. I like being able to have the dock and then a separate USB-C cable. So if something happens to the cable, I just change out the cable and keep using the same dock, versus if the cable goes out, the dock goes out, right? And then also just having one less USB-C port on the back to not be able to use, because this takes up 2 USB-C ports. Now, it's not the end of the world. I can get around it. I don't think it's gonna be, you know, one of those things where I'm like I can't stand this, but it's just kind of one of my reservations. But if you are looking for a dock that is reliable, that is going to make your Mac Mini look a little bit better, that is going to raise it for some elevated airflow, that does have the USB-A inputs for keyboard and mouse, that does give you the ability to use monitors with it because of the HDMI and the display port, then I think this is a worthy monitor for you to go with. But at the end of the day, like I say in all my videos, it's really up to you. I'm not here to sell you something. I'm just giving you my experience and my reaction to it. And I've been using it for some time now. I like it for what it does, especially with the internal NVMe SSD. That's really, really clutch. So you make your own guess. I'm gonna put a link down in the description below for you to go buy this or check it out if you want. It's not a commission link. I don't make any money off of this. This is just, me, telling y'all what's good, right? But anyway, with that being said, hope this video was of some value to you. Like and subscribe to the channel if you wish. There'll be a lot more content like this where this came from, and I'm gonna holler at y'all next time. Peace.